Okay, so hi all of you. That is this topics of interactive depending in soft computing. Okay, there are two common ways to traverse a graph. First, breadth first search, and second, depth first search. Mean BFS and DFS. Considering a tree or graph of height and width. Both BFS and DFS are not very efficient due to following result. Okay, so depth first search. Depth first search first traverse node going through one adjacent of root, then next adjacent. Okay, the problem with this approach is if there is a node close to root but not in first few subtree explored by DFS, then DFS reach that node very late. Okay, also DFS may not find shortest path to a node, mean in term of number of edges. Okay, second BFS, है ना? BFS and DFS are not very efficient, so explain DFS and BFS. So BFS goes level by level but requires more space. The space required by DFS is OD, where D is depth of tree, but space required by BFS is ON, where N is number of nodes. Okay, DFS is OD, where D is depth of tree, but BFS is ON, where is N number is of nodes in tree. Why? Why? Note that the last level of tree can have around n by 2 nodes and second last level n by 4 nodes, and in BFS we need to have every level 1 by 1 is q. Okay, so this graph, suppose we want to find node 2 of the given infinite undirected graph. A DFS starting from node 0. Suppose a DFS starting from node 0 will dive left toward node 1 as so on. Okay, whereas the node 2 is just adjacent to node. Okay, hence a DFS wastes a lot of time in coming back to node 2, and interactive depending depth first search overcomes this and quickly find the required nodes. Okay, how does IDDFS mean? IDDFS mean interactive depending depth first search. So IDDFS calls DFS for different depth starting from an initial value. In every call, DFS is restricted from going beyond given depth. So basically we do DFS in a BFS fashion. Okay, an important thing to note is we visit top level nodes multiple times. Okay, the last or max depth मतलब mean the last level is visited once, second last level is visited twice, and so on. It may seem expensive, but it turns out to be not so costly, since in a tree most of the nodes are in the bottom level, so it does not matter much if the upper levels are visited multiple times. Okay, so this is IDDFS. IDDFS mean interactive depending depth first search. Okay, thank you. Next topic, statistical reasoning, probability, and Bayes theorem. Bayes theorem is, what is Bayes theorem? Bayes theorem is a method of calculating conditional probability. Okay, the traditional method of calculating conditional probability is to use the conditional probability formula, calculating the joint probability of event 1 and event 2 occurring at the same time, and then dividing it by the probability of event 2 occurring. However, conditional probability can also be calculated in a slightly different fashion by using Bayes theorem. When calculating conditional probability with Bayes theorem, you use the following step. First, determine the probability of condition B being true, assuming that condition A is true. Second point, determine the probability of event A being true. Okay. Third, multiply the two probabilities together. And fourth step, by divide by the probability of event B occurring. This means that the formula for Bayes theorem could be expressed like this: P A divided by equal to P B divided A into P A divided P B. Okay, calculating the conditional probability like this is especially useful when the reverse conditional probability can be easily calculated, or when calculating the joint probability would to be challenging. Okay, this is Bayes theorem. Thank you so much.